Hi, this is John, the owner and developer of VectorDecks. What I'm going to show you in this video is how easy and quick it was to be able to create this sun deck with the power of VectorDecks. First thing we need to do is create the basic outline area of the deck, or the basic floor plan. Now you could do this using VectorDecks Frame tool, which is a basic polygon type tool. You just click and drag to the outside points of the deck, and then after making your last click, it's going to close the deck in and produce its frame. But for complex decks, the click and drag process could be pretty tedious, particularly with accuracy. So what I've done is I've created a tool that makes use of all the built-in VectorWorks 2D tool capabilities. I'll show you here. I'm using the rectangular type tool for that first surface area, and then I have this another little surface area over in here, and then I have that octagon area, and I'm gonna go ahead and select them all and add them to one surface. Again, these are all built-in tools right in VectorWorks, which makes the process much easier than trying to click and drag to each one of these points. And once I'm satisfied with the actual surface area, now I'm going to go ahead and click on VectorDecks Convert tool and click on that, and now it converts it automatically to a VectorDecks frame. Now you could still go back and edit this particular frame by just double clicking on it, and then with the VectorWorks Reshape tool, go ahead and select whatever you want to move around. I'm going to move this over 24 inches, and then I'm going to move this area. Let's move it to the right 6. And then once you click out again, you still have the VectorDecks frame. Now the next thing we need to do here is insert the beams. I'm going to select the VectorDecks Beam tool, and it's a line tool. So the first click will create the beginning point of the beam, and the second click finishes the end. Now you're going to be able to edit a lot of things with relationship to the type of post and the type of beams involved, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and get the basic surface area of this deck done. Now our next step would be to insert the rails, but this deck has a set of steps coming off in this direction, so I need to know where the rails begin and end, so we're going to go ahead and insert that step first. So I'm going to come over here and then select the VectorDecks Step tool, zoom in a little closer, and it's a point type tool, and what that means is you point exactly where you want to insert it and do a click, and then your second click is going to be its direction. So I want it to just run, this direction. So there we go, we got it. We've just inserted the step exactly where I want it, and now we're ready to go ahead and insert those rails. I'm going to go ahead and then select the VectorDecks Rail tool, and it's a polyline tool. You're going to just click the beginning and then click around the outer edge of the rail, which fastens to that inner edge of the deck frame. And once you get to your finishing point, double click, and that'll finish that rail installation. Now I'm going to start again here over on this other side and click around again the inner edge of the outer frame, and that's exactly where the rail post will attach to. And it's very important to draw clockwise. If you drew counterclockwise, you're going to be producing that rail on that outer edge of the frame instead of that inner edge. Again, once you're done with the rail, double click and you're finished. Now it was very easy to draw that rail, so if you need to make any changes, you could just delete it and draw another one. But if you ever wanted to, you still can edit it by double clicking on it and moving any of the handles with that Reshape tool. Now all your hard work is done. We're going to let VectorDecks take over and help you finish this design without you having to draw anything else. For example, that step in the finished product comes out and turns and then comes down to grade. It's a little higher too, so I'm going to go ahead and select that frame. Let's change that elevation to 75. you'll see how it automatically extended the steps, adding a few additional step risers because of the deck elevation. It also will automatically raise and extend the supporting posts involved. Now we're going to go ahead and select that step and click on the Step Specifications button, and this is going to produce a whole array of different menus and options for you to control how you want that step to look. I get into those in complete tutorials on my website, but we're just going to deal with the basic step direction here now. And here I have these options: step to grade, step to deck, step to landing. So we're going to go ahead and click on that step to landing. And then it's not a square landing, it's sort of a kite-shaped landing. I'm also going to try to even those step risers, try to have sort of equal amount of step risers, and also to turn that corner on the deck properly. I believe in the finished product too, I have the bottom step flared out. So I think that's basically what I had. So let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It turns and it comes down to this landing and then to grade. So it was that easy. You didn't have to redraw anything. With all the VectorDecks tools, we enforce that same menu type of options capabilities, and it makes it so much simpler to know what you're getting before you actually render anything. Now we need to go ahead and change that decking surface. I believe in the finished product the decking surface is not that green pressure treated look. By clicking on that VectorDecks deck settings, the Sun Deck settings button, we're going to pop in here and we have again a full array of different type of options involved within the VectorDecks frame. But let's go ahead and make that deck finish changes. I believe it was a sandal type color, and also it ran on a 45-degree angle. So let's give this 45-degree angle, and you'll see the settings here will change. I mean, you can go to top view or different views within this particular window too to have a good understanding. You can change how the outside fascia appears, but we're going to go ahead and click on that beam button because I believe the beam is all trimmed out. So we're going to trim both the beam and post, and we're going to give it a white finish. So we'll go here, and again you'll see it updates itself within this window, so you know what things are going to look like before they actually finish. You also have the option of turning different surfaces off. For example, in here you're not going to need any fascia or any finished trim where the house would be. So we're able to turn those features off. And once you're satisfied with what you have here, you can click OK, and it updates everything here within your Sun Deck frame. It'll also update all the changes all the way to your Sun Deck steps. Let's convert that to 3D, and I'm going to show you those changes. We wanted a white rail. We wanted a sand finished decking surface. Let's use OpenGL. And all those changes are instituted. They're changed on the decking surface, and they're changed right down to the step level. Now I see here I need to change that step post to white. So let's go ahead and select the step post, go into step specifications. Let's go here to specs, and let's change that pressure treated finish to a white finish. You click OK. Now it'll get updated, re-rendered, and now we're getting pretty close to what the deck finish actually looks like. The last thing we need to do is the rails in this particular finished product is a little fancier than these. This is the default rail system that you have when you create the Sun Deck, but I'll show you how you can change that very quickly. We're going to select that frame, and we're going to select the Sun Deck rail settings. Now in here you also have a full array of mathematical configurations that you can create yourself, or you could do what we call use real objects, and I'm going to click on that button. And in here it gives you an option to insert predefined different type of railing systems, or you can even create your own and store it in here. I'm going to go ahead and give this a real fancy sleeve over top of the post, and give this a little fancier top and real nice fancy skirt there. Now you can change the coloration. These are all set to white by default. Everything will come up white if it doesn't actually have a class setting yet. So I could change those to any color I want, and before you actually make the change in the drawing itself, you'll see what it looks like here. See, it's going to change the post to that sand color, but we're going to leave this white. And now I'm going to go ahead and click over here on the rail objects, and in here the same thing. You can go with a pre-default settings, or you can select your own, or you can even create your own and then store them in here. But I'm going to make some selections here with some more fancier type of rails. You can go with a colonial spindle type rail, or you can just go with the basic square type pattern. I'm going to keep this at that square, help render it quicker. And once you're satisfied with the type of rails you're using, you just need to click OK, and the entire drawing will get updated with this new rail system, including the steps themselves. There's no need to go in and redraw or reselect any of the VectorDecks objects to create any of these changes. VectorDecks is going to do that for you. Now, that particular railing system is a lot more complex, so it'll take a little bit longer to redraw. You can see here how complex the whole railing system looks, but it really makes it a lot easier. You didn't have to redraw anything again. You just needed to go into VectorDecks menus and select the type of rails you want and click, and you're done. I'm going to rotate this and show you how complete VectorDecks designs this deck. All the joists, all the step framing, all the trim around the posts and the trim around the beams. It's designed to be built. Now I'm going to render this how it appears in that finished drawing. So what we're going to do first is let's get back to that top plan view. Give it a light source. I love this Heliodon tool, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this Heliodon tool. It's really cool. It can give you how your shade effect is at any given time of the day. For example, it shows at 9 a.m., which is the current time in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. This facing north. This is going to give me the sun, how it appears. And this is pretty cool. This is a part of VectorWorks. Now let's get back to that right isometric view. In fact, getting a little closer. Let's get closer inside here, and let's give it a more perspective appearance. Now let's go ahead and get a little closer, and I'm going to go ahead and render this, and your final quality render works. Final quality render works takes a little while longer to render, so I sped up this process, and here's your final product. It's so easy to be able to draw a very complex deck with an extremely complex railing system, all with the special tools that we provide right here in VectorDecks. Please visit our website, where we have many more video tutorials covering all the different tools and aspects of VectorDecks.